Loading.
This is the story of a man named Stanley.
That's not my name.
Stanley worked for a company in a big building where he was employee number 427.
That's not even my
Employee
number.
number 427's job was simple. He sat at his desk in room 427 and he pushed buttons on a keyboard.
My
Orders
word.
came to him through a monitor on his desk, telling
Oh.
him what buttons to push, how long to push them, and in what order. This is what employee 427 did every day of every month of every year. And although others might have considered it soul-rending,
I would.
Stanley relished every moment that the orders came in, as though he had been made exactly for this job. And Stanley was happy.
Ah. I'm a robot.
And then one day, something
Zeep
very
zorp.
peculiar
Boop.
happened. Something that would forever change Stanley. Something he would never quite forget. He had been at his desk for nearly an hour when he realized that not one single order had arrived on the monitor for him to follow.
Well, what
No
am I
one
supposed to
showed
do
up give him
now?
instructions, call a meeting, or even say hi.
Bloody Ruth,
Never in
that.
all his years at the company had this happened. This complete isolation. Something was very clearly wrong. Shocked, frozen solid, Stanley found himself unable to move for the longest time. But as he came to his wits and regained his senses, he got up from his desk and stepped out of his office.
Yeah, I would, I think. Hello? There's no one bloody about.
All of his co-workers
Hello?
were gone. What could it mean?
Were they
Stanley
eaten?
decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo. No
Unlikely.
matter
I'm
how
pretty
hard
sharp on my
Stanley looked,
memos.
he couldn't find a trace of his co-workers.
Ooh, not behind the door either. Ironically, they've left a lot of the doors open. So it does actually look like they've kind of left. Although some people shut their doors. What's down there?
When Stanley came to a set of two open doors, he entered the door on his left.
What? Okay, sure.
Yet there was not a single person here either.
Do not
Feeling
alter with
weird,
consulting
this
white
would be
one.
an answer there.
Well, what day is it? Mergers! Pranking floors meeting. Planking floor 5. Okay. What to do about 432? Wait a minute. What was my number? What was my number? Am I 432? Not efficient. Get Chris out of the broom closet. It's not been done yet. Okay, hire someone to synergize papers. Papers are too synergized. Fire paper guy. What? Hire somebody to fire the paper surge. Who moved my desk? Oh, okay, cool. Oh, is it flicking through? Solving interpersonal conflict. If you ever find yourself in a conflict with another diligent... Target demographic, teenagers, what is hot? Okay. Violet James, you are fired. Huh. Throw something in the ideas bin. No more bins and trash cans and the naming of the idea of the bag. firing of me. Okay. We need reviews. 402, 405 want to get rid of the death sport portion in the primary review schedule. Eh? But I think that's a stupid idea. More water coolers, more water cooler heaters. Oh my god. Some kind of, every time I look. Chris! 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 I can't open the door. Chris!
Stanley stepped into the broom closet, but there was nothing here, so he turned around and got back on track.
Where's Chris? I was told there was a Chris in the broom closet, but there is no Chris in the broom closet, so that's sad.
Coming to a staircase, Stanley walked upstairs to his boss's office.
Right. Sure. What's down here, though?
But Stanley
I can just go home. Everyone else has went home.
Considered the possibility of facing his boss. Admitting he had left his post during work hours, he might be fired for that.
Oh, that's
and
not
in
really
such
what
a
I'm worried
competitive
about.
economy, why had he taken that risk? All because he believed
Hey, I
everyone
can't
had
crouch.
vanished. His boss would think he was crazy. And then something occurred to Stanley. Maybe, he thought to himself, maybe I am crazy.
No, for me to think I'm crazy, I would have to not be crazy, so I'm totally safe.
Moment, for no reason at all, none of it made any logical sense. And as Stanley pondered this,
Coffee
he
nut.
began to make other strange observations. For example, why couldn't he see his feet when he looked down? Why did doors close automatically behind him wherever he went?
Uh-oh.
And for that matter, these rooms were starting to look pretty familiar.
They are, actually. I was thinking that
No,
myself.
Stanley
Look, the
said to
coffee
himself,
stain.
This is all too strange. This can't be real. And at last, he came to the conclusion that had been on the tip of his tongue. He just hadn't found the words for it. I'm dreaming, he yelled. This is all a dream. Oh, what a relief Stanley felt to have finally found an answer, an explanation. His co-workers weren't actually gone. He wasn't going to lose his job. He wasn't crazy after all.
Well, I'm
He
a
thought
little
to himself,
crazy.
I suppose I'll wake up soon. I'll have to go back. He imagined himself flying and began to gently float above the ground. Then he imagined himself soaring through space on a magical starfield, and it too appeared. It was so much fun, and Stanley marveled that he had still not woken up. How was he remaining so lucid? And then perhaps the strangest question of them all entered Stanley's head.
Why do I keep spinning at the coffee mug? Because I don't really have an answer for that. I just felt like it would be funny, and now I've just committed.
Now the voice was describing itself being considered by Stanley, who found it particularly strange. I'm dreaming about a voice describing me, thinking about how it's describing my thoughts, he thought. And while he thought it all very odd, and wondered if this voice spoke to all people in their dreams, the truth was that, of course, this was not a dream. How could it be?
How could indeed?
Simply deceiving himself, believing that if he's asleep, he doesn't have to take responsibility for himself. Stanley is as awake right now as he's ever been in his life. Now, hearing him speak these words was quite a shock to Stanley. After all, he knew for certain, beyond a doubt, that
also,
this
I
was,
just
in fact,
flew.
a dream.
I think,
Did the
maybe.
voice not see him float and make the magical stars just a moment ago?
Yeah.
How else would the voice explain all that? This voice was a part of himself too. Surely, if he could just... He would prove it. He would prove that he was in control.
Yeah, I'm not crazy.
This was a dream. So he closed his eyes gently, and he invited himself to wake up. He felt the cool weight of the blanket on his skin, the press of the mattress on his back, the fresh air of a world outside this one. Let me wake up, he thought to himself. I'm through with this dream. I wish it to be over. Let me go back to my job. Let me continue pushing the buttons.
I don't want to push buttons anymore.
That's all I want.
I've seen what's on the outside. I can't go back.
And my wife, and my job. All I want is my life exactly the way it's always been. My life is normal. I am normal. Everything will be fine. I am okay.
Well, that didn't work.
Stanley began screaming. Please, someone, wake me up. My name is Stanley. I have a boss. I have an office. I am real. Please, just someone tell me I am real. I must be real. I must be. Can anyone hear my voice? Who am I? Who am I? And everything went black.
Uh-oh.
This is the story of a woman named Mariella. Mariella woke up on a day like any other. She arose, got dressed, gathered her belongings, and walked to her place of work.
Oh my goodness.
But on this particular day, her walk was interrupted by the body of a man who had stumbled through town talking and screaming to himself, and then collapsed dead on the sidewalk.
Oh no.
And although she would soon turn to go call for an ambulance, for just a few brief moments, she considered the strange man.
Well,
He
odd
was
maybe, not
obviously
strange.
crazy. This much she knew. Everyone knows what crazy people look like. And in that moment, she thought to herself how lucky she was to be normal. I am sane. I am in control of my mind. I know what is real and what isn't. It was comforting to think this, and in a certain way, seeing this man made her feel better.
I just had a
Then she
nosy
remembered the
downstairs,
meeting
and look
she
at me,
had
I've
scheduled for
died.
that day. The very important. So it was only a moment that she stood there, staring down at the body. And then she turned and ran.
Bye, Mariella.